Pastor Artur Pawlowski is now a free man after being imprisoned and tortured for a sermon that he gave. Now, we're also going to be covering spam recalls out there. We have Marines losing a $200 million jet for a while and needing civilians to help them find it. But they did eventually find it, but it's taken a new bizarre twist that is impacting global U.S. forces worldwide. Also, we have a report coming from some folks working at factories that there are resin shortages for making bulk plastic bags for food, and that is a big problem. And we got a whole bunch of reports coming from you guys from all over as well. So welcome to the Poplar Report. One of the things that everyone keeps saying about this channel is that we dive right into it. It's not a whole bunch of fluff. It's not a bunch of talking in circles. I tell you exactly what the video is about right on the front of the video, and we get into it. So if you appreciate that, please do hit the thumbs up. We want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. If you have retirement funds and you want to get them out of stocks and bonds into something safer like gold, silver, or platinum in your retirement accounts, you might want to talk to Jonathan and his team. There'll be a link at the end of this video. All right, so we've talked about Pastor Artur Pawlowski up in Canada, the tyrannical states of Canada, and he was arrested and charged with inciting mischief. Not inciting violence, not inciting people to damage property, but mischief. Basically, he spoke and gave a sermon at a trucker rally. Right? The big, nasty trucker rally was like the equivalent of the Washington, D.C. protest up there, up in Canada, and they started freezing people's bank accounts, and they started arresting pastors, because that makes sense. Now, he was sentenced. He was already charged with this. He was convicted, but now he's been sentenced just yesterday to 60 days jail time for his sermon, for preaching a sermon. Not anything he said in the sermon, but rather just their interpretation of how they felt about his sermon. He spent some of that time in solitary confinement, which some countries and some states in the United States consider to be torture. Why do you have to put someone into solitary confinement who's a pastor, right? That's crazy. Was he trying to harm people? No. They were trying to punish him. So He's already spent 60 days in jail, some of which in solitary confinement, so he's been released for time served. So effectively, he's just been released, but the point is that for a sermon, you can be sentenced to 60 days in jail and be tossed in solitary confinement in the country of Canada. And we're not even going to talk about the fact that he's been under house arrest for the past year, not able to leave his house without permission, and only for certain reasons, having to be in every night at a certain time. This is crazy. We can't have these pastors preaching the Bible. We can't have these pastors preaching their convictions out there. We gotta rein them in. We gotta call up Justin Trudeau and ask what we're allowed to talk about at churches and in religious services. All right, I mentioned that there is a spam recall out there. It is spam that was sent to H-E-B stores. Now, this is only for the state of Texas. So if you're in Texas, listen up. If you're not in Texas, don't listen up. The alert is from the USDA's Food Safety Inspection Service saying Hormel Foods, which is, they're getting ready for a strike over at Hormel, that they inadvertently shipped product that may not have been adequately processed to reach commercial sterility. Spam fans in 49 states and territories don't have to worry. The alert concerns Spam Classic in lot number A08173, best by August 2026, sold at the supermarket chain H-E-B, the nation's number 8 seller of groceries and serving Texas almost exclusively. All right, so if you bought Spam recently, check those dates and be ready for that. Everywhere else, you should be fine. All right, so most of you probably already heard of the U.S. Marines losing a $200 million F-35 jet fighter. The pilot ejected, and then they started asking locals if they'd seen a fighter jet go down anywhere. And this story couldn't be more bizarre. The fact is that there were 2 fighter jets flying and 1 ejected with the plane on autopilot, right? They did find the jet. They found it, and it was 80 miles away from where the pilot ejected. So one has to ask the question, if it could fly 80 miles on autopilot, could it have flown 80 miles with the pilot in it? Was it possible for them to land it safely? Or, at the very least, direct it to a safe location to ditch the plane instead of just letting it off like a cruise missile across the South Carolina countryside. Could have crashed into somebody's house. Could have gone into a mall. Could have hit a church. Could have hit anything. Who knows? But the fact is that if they need to eject, and yet they absolutely need to eject, they should at least get it out so it's either going off the coast into the ocean or heading towards somewhere. They're not supposed to eject and just let it just kind of fly wherever it wants to go. Also, there's the second jet fighter, which should have followed the jet to make sure that it doesn't hit anybody or it's not going to head to, a downtown city or something like that. Why wasn't the other jet following the unmanned aircraft? But nope, that's kind of odd. The Marines, this is a Marine jet fighter. I don't know who gave the idea to give $200 million jets to Marines. This just goes to show why we can't give Marines good things or nice things, right? That's a joke, okay, folks? I'm not being mean. That's just a joke. Anyway, so because of this, they've now ordered all military planes worldwide to be grounded for 2 days so they can go over everything for safety checks and everything like that. Grounding all planes for the U.S. military worldwide. Is there something going on here that they're not telling us? I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say there's something going on here that they're not telling us. The fact is that this isn't a one-off issue. They're suspecting something potentially foul play. Or potentially, if this was done intentionally by the pilot, whose ethnicity or nationality we don't know, that begs a question there too. Something's going on here that they are seriously concerned about, so much so that they've grounded all military aircraft worldwide, just as China is. Just yesterday, China had over 100 military aircraft entering the air identification zone for Taiwan. And they have major military naval exercises going on off the coast. Meanwhile, our U.S. carrier, the Ronald Reagan, is sitting in port, completely vulnerable to a missile strike. That is a little bit disconcerting. Do I think that World War III is about to happen tomorrow? At least in the China area? I don't think so, but it could. And if it did, we would be seriously, seriously in trouble. One aircraft carrier in that area, and it is sitting still, perfectly vulnerable to a missile attack. This is from Blue Bonnet Nation. I have a friend that stocks at Walmart in Central Texas. They were joking about being wiped out of ramen again. When I asked if they're going through that many boxes, they said that they were only getting half a pallet restocks. Where ramen is hardly a necessity, I use it, like you do, as a means of seeing how the area is doing. So it is getting hit pretty hard, and it's not coming in like it normally does. That is concerning. Once again, that's Central Texas. That's not an H-E-B, that's a Walmart. And you know how everybody likes their sodium and MSG at Walmarts. So they're not restocking that. That's concerning. And like I always say, the first thing people do when they panic is they go after bottled water and they go after that ramen. It's just, it's burned into Americans' DNA, I guess. This is from Jay. Hey Steve, here in Charlotte, North Carolina area, I have noticed that about 3 weeks ago, Alka-Seltzer, Cold and Flu, and store brand Dayquil and NyQuil were around $7 to $7.50 for each. Now walking through Dollar General and Walmart, now I am seeing Alka-Seltzer Cold and Flu for as much as $10.50 a box. 3 weeks ago. That's a big change, folks. And Dayquil and NyQuil store brands as much as $9.99 each. You can only imagine how much the name brand stuff is. Now, we have that essentially a recall by the FDA saying the stuff, and the plot has thickened on that too. Apparently, the stuff never worked in the first place, but the FDA forced them to take out the stuff that did work back in 2000, I want to say 6. It was 16 years ago, so now that would be like 2008, 2009, something like that. So they forced them to take that out, and they take out the good stuff because you could take the good stuff back to a lab somewhere and make stuff you're not supposed to make, right? So they're like, stop selling that. Here, use this other thing. It works just as well. Well, pretty soon, citizen scientists who actually believe in science and not just taking the government's word on it, they're like, does it actually work? And they came to the conclusion, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. It works about as good as distilled water. But the FDA is like, well, it works well enough. Just use that and don't use the good stuff. And now, 16 years later, they're like, oh, actually that stuff doesn't work. So you should probably stop telling people it works. Even though it's the FDA that did it, it's just so infuriating. More government incompetence / just aggressive evilness. What else can you say about it, right? It's just, they're literally they don't care if we all die. As long as they get their checks, by and large, they really don't care. We saw that with the cough and everything, didn't we? More and more studies keep coming out that the juice actually makes you more likely to get sick. That's what they're coming out with. And they're also finding that vitamin I reduced fatalities by like 75%. But we couldn't allow people to take that. We had to mock them. We had to try to pull the business licenses, the medical licenses of people who prescribed that, legally prescribed it. But we can't have them out there practicing medicine because they're not doing exactly what they're told. Friends, you either need to choose soon whether you're going to fall in the line and do as you're told and shut your mouth, or you're going to need to find some other people to help you stand up when you need to stand up tall. Because when the blowback comes back, you're going to need to have other people standing with you. This is from Babu. I went to BJ's, which is like a Costco. I don't know if it's nationwide, but I went to BJ's online to get my organic potatoes. And for the first time, they are all out at my local store in Northwest New Jersey. Organic potatoes in New Jersey? None? What? They have been partially moldy and rotten, but now they are totally gone. They usually had a big pile of them. Now they just have sweet potatoes that go bad fast. Also, they haven't had Alexia organic frozen potatoes either for the past year. And as for the regular, they've been sparse too. And now they are totally gone also. This is making me mad since I love potatoes. They are cheap, easy to make, nutritious, and tasty. I will have to go to the local organic purveyors, but they are expensive. The channels of potatoes are drying up. You could almost ask the question, what prophetic voices were saying this is going to happen? At least on this channel we were, because we look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, folks. If you look at the numbers, you'll see what's going to happen before it happens. If you listen to the farmers, if you listen to the crop estimates, you'll know what's happening before it happens. Instead of walking into Walmart and going, what's happening? Yep. Amanda, I live in north central Arkansas. I did a curbside pickup at Walmart last Friday. I ordered a lot of canned food to replenish my reserves. I do this every couple months. Anyway, they only allowed one bag of 20-pound rice. If you go into the store, you can toss a few in your cart. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're limiting what you can get. They say they're out, but sometimes they're not. They just don't want to give you that many. That's aggravating too. But the worst part was almost all the cans they gave me either had rust, dents, or were bulging. And the best buy dates were all for July 2024. It was like they picked through the worst cans and put them in my cart. One, as I typed a reply here, please take them back. Please take all your cans and return them. Don't accept that kind of stuff. They do it because you hop in your car and drive away. Well, friends, just leave the cans in your car, or put the cans back in your car. And next time you're at Walmart, go, get a shopping cart that's ditched in the parking lot somewhere, filled up with your cans and bags, and go straight to the customer service and say, I want to return all these cans. They're all dented. They're, I know it's a little inconvenient to do that, but we need to be, some of you need to be a little more assertive, right? I'm not saying this person does, but by and large, we take a lot of stuff from these companies. And I know a lot of you are pretty upset with all the China Mart out there, all the foreign products coming in, and just all the chemicals and the ingredients that they're messing around with. And actually this afternoon, we're going to be talking about some of the steps we're starting to take here on this channel. We're actually going to start addressing that. We're going to start making some options available to you guys that are legitimate, cost-effective options to get switched over to non-GMO, non-hormone stuff, safer chemicals and such in cleaning products. An alternative, USA made. All the products are USA made. A lot better options. And honestly, the markups they're doing at Walmart and these other stores, I'm getting off topic, but I'm pretty excited about this. I've got a couple folks working with me about this to get this ready. And actually, there's going to be an opportunity for you guys to step up and help too. I'll be talking about that in the afternoon video. Anyway, so don't accept cans that are dented, and don't accept this garbage that we're getting. If they don't bring you out what you ordered, don't take it, okay? It goes for everyone, like Walmart, Amazon, all these places. PNW Farm Dog says, Costco in Gig Harbor, Washington, yesterday, no fat-free milk. All they had was homogenized and 2%. Also no Kirkland signature sliced cheese, medium or sharp. Still had plenty of rice, no limits on that yet. Bought snap peas at Costco a week ago for my lunches. Checked the bag like usual, and they looked good. A few in there that weren't, but that was normal. Day one, they had an odd taste. Day two, I could taste the rancid, rotten peas. Still looked good though, but they were all bad. For those of you who do watch Southern Prepper 1 out there, apparently he did have a hacking issue, and whether his computer was compromised or what, he's gotten re-access to his email, and he's started posting videos again. He's been kind of absent recently, but he did just post a video yesterday just mentioning that he's been offline, but he's back. He's back, and he's coming back at it. This is from Anonymous. They asked for their name withhold. I know someone who works for the country's largest packaging manufacturer. They are experiencing resin shortages. This resin is used to make plastic bags that products like ketchup is in for restaurant dispensers. So if you've ever worked in the back of the kitchens and everything like that, the ketchup dispensers, even like the soda comes in like plastic bags kind of stuff that they put in these machines and stuff like that and hook them all up. Well, the plastic that they're using for that food stuff, they're having shortages of the resin. And this is not from one small company. Apparently the largest packaging manufacturer. I don't know which one that is. And apparently the idea was to hide which one we're talking about. So, but just be aware of that. There's issues going on with packaging. Leopard Woman says, last week I bought a bunch of green bananas. They never turned yellow. They went from green to brown. I've never had bananas do this before. Anyone who know why this is the case? And a number of you did share the reason. Apparently, the bananas need to be hit with CO2 gas. Notice we were just talking the other day about how apparently there's shortages of CO2 gas out there, and they're being more sparse with it wherever they can. So they hit the bananas with the CO2 gas, and that causes it so that they end up going from green to yellow before they go to brown. So that's apparently it was missed. So if you ever getting green bananas and they just never turn yellow, it's because they didn't get hit with the CO2 gas. They should theoretically be just fine to eat. They don't need the CO2 gas in order to make them taste good or be nutritious. Nutritious, sort of, right? Ish. Victoria from East Tennessee went to Kroger's and purchased a container of laundry pods, 60 count. Got home and was consolidating containers. The new container was missing the safety tape, and when I opened the container, it was half empty. Apparently somebody needed laundry detergent and just helped themselves. In the future, I will be checking everything I buy, a sign of the times. Please, friends, check those safety seals on all your stuff at the grocery stores. Apparently, this is becoming more and more of an issue. A number of you folks chimed in on it and saying that similar things happen to you with other products. So if you're buying a multi-pack of everything, just make sure that the tape is still sealed, that no one's like dipped in there and taken like half your bags of chips or taken half your units of whatever. So just check those things because apparently that's becoming more and more of a thing. Crazy world, crazy world. WAW says, actually, now it makes sense. Here in Quebec, Canada, they made sure that we know we're talking about Canada here. I guess they're against independence, so maybe that's a political statement. Anyway, there are bugs, mainly moths, appearing in some foods. We're talking about the not having the preservatives and not having the gas and stuff like that that they usually do, and that's why food's spoiling faster. But the bugs are appearing in some foods. Even before opening the bags, it happened with rice, walnuts, and oats. I suggest people pay attention to that since they eat through the plastic and become a pest to deal with. So they'll eat through the plastic and they'll get all over your pantry. A number of you guys were talking about that happening as well. So if you're buying bulk bags where this might be happening, the best thing to do is toss it in the freezer. If it's cold enough where you are, put it outside. But just make sure that there isn't anything living in there in your dead food, right? Julio says, Jonesville, Michigan, Walmart. Please do keep your reports coming, by the way. Just use the word update and a comment on this channel anywhere. Any comment on this channel with the word update in it. You can also email me if you need to stay more secretive. Email it to poplarpreparedness@gmail.com. We do appreciate all your updates. Jonesville, Michigan, Walmart. I've been telling the wife about food shortages coming. She thought I was nuts. But yesterday she did a little grocery shopping, empty shelves everywhere. She definitely noticed a difference. Once the real food shortages start hitting, they'll all come around and understand the situation we are in. God bless. That's just the truth, folks. When people see it, they will believe it. You can keep telling them, but they won't believe it. Also, just kind of a reminder that tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., we're going to start back up with our Bible study on the other channel, the Bold Faith Bible, and we're going to be starting the book of Genesis and the beginning stories of creation, as well as the story of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Noah, all these stories. We're going to be going through all of that, and we're going to be doing a nice overview. So if you're interested in joining with us at that, those videos drop 6 a.m. every morning, and this channel drops at 6:15 a.m. So you can watch them back to back, or if you wake up a little later or you're in a different time zone, it works out well for you. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold Group, there's a link right here that you just fill out the form, and they'll send you an information packet. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here, and I'm actually going to go crazy, and there's a link to Bold Faith Bible right there. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.